Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Today we are talking about the new constitutional amendment proposal from Representative Dogan. This is House Bill Journal, page 30. Now, the pre-filed bill is been read twice. Let's talk about what he's actually trying to do. On voter approval, the proposed constitutional amendment will legalize marijuana for persons 21 years of age and older, and that will be subject to state regulation, taxation, and local ordinances. The legal adult use of marijuana would be regulated so that legitimate business people would conduct sales of marijuana, and the marijuana sold throughout the state will be subject to testing, labeling, regulation. Employers will be allowed to maintain drug-free workplaces, which means even though this would legalize marijuana for recreational purposes, it will not prevent an employer from firing you for testing positive on a drug test. It will allow selling, transferring, or providing marijuana to individuals under the age of 21 to remain illegal, and driving, flying, or boating while impaired by cannabis will remain illegal. The bill will establish what's called the Smarter and Safer Missouri Act that requires marijuana to be removed from the list of controlled substances, and however this does not grant a right to smoke in a public place or an open space. Does not prohibit state or political subdivisions from prohibiting or regulating conduct otherwise allowed by this section when such conduct occurs on the property of a state or political subdivision or require a person to violate federal law. This is fancy way, even the summary is a fancy way of saying that this proposal is not going to circumvent federal law and you're not allowed to smoke in public. Now, this will make it lawful to possess, consume, cultivate, harvest, process, manufacture, package, distribute, transfer, display, or possess marijuana, marijuana accessories, or marijuana products for commercial purposes, provided the person has a current applicable license to operate commercial establishment with no other special licensing required. Marijuana farmers, manufacturers, processors, and distributors shall not be subject to any special zoning requirements or licensing fee more restrictive than that which is relative to any other commercial or agricultural farmer, manufacturer, processor, or distributor. Law enforcement and courts shall protect marijuana users and their property without discrimination. No personnel or state funds shall be used to assist or aid in the enforcement of federal marijuana laws, which are no longer illegal in this state. All persons incarcerated for nonviolent, marijuana-only offenses that are no longer illegal shall be immediately released and not subject to supervision for those offenses. Within 60 days of the passage of this section, a legal document shall be developed and made available to the public ordering the immediate destruction of all marijuana-related nonviolent civil and criminal records in the state of Missouri, including immediate expungement of such records. A tax shall be levied on the suggested retail sale price of marijuana at a rate of 12% for personal use, 4% for medical use. Monies collected shall be distributed to the Smarter, Safer Missouri Fund, which is created in this bill, and distributed to the Missouri Veterans Commission, the Missouri Department of Transportation, and to the expansion of broadband and drug treatment programs, including drug treatment courts. Article 14, Section 1 of the Missouri Constitution relating to the right to access medical marijuana is removed. Now, this will allow you recreational. That very last portion in the summary is concerning. Removing the right to access medical marijuana from the Constitution. Right now, one of the arguments and one of the things that people have been pointing out is that with the current Amendment 14, it creates a right to use medical marijuana. That Missouri has created that right for you is a powerful, powerful weapon in court. It is a constitutionally granted right in the state of Missouri now, more so than alcohol or any other substance. You have a right to use medical marijuana. You do not have a right to get OxyContin at the doctor's when you are in pain. You don't have a right to go drink alcohol. This confers a right to use medical marijuana upon you. This bill would take away that right. And one of the primary arguments that defendants have been using with the patient cards. So that's a little concerning. However, this basically wipes out the current criminal structure in regards to marijuana. You know, expungement of all marijuana offenses, release of people who are incarcerated on marijuana-only charges. You know, that's powerful. So there's good stuff in this. I'm a little disappointed that it's asking for a constitutional amendment as opposed to simply the legislature approving. I think the reason they're asking for the constitutional amendment is because the Missouri legislature has largely been purchased and they're not going to approve legalization because they've been lobbied quite heavily by MOCAN. So there is a question whether this even gets on the ballot as it is through the legislature. However, there's a very real possibility that this makes it as a ballot initiative if the legislature doesn't approve it. So it's going to be 6 of one, half dozen of another. There are positives in here. I think if it was going to be a ballot initiative, I would remove the section removing the right to access medical marijuana, because I think that is an important, a very important thing. I think that we need to have the right to access medical marijuana. That lends a level of weight to your arguments in court because it's constitutionally enshrined. So, this has good points. It has some, like anything, it has some negatives. The fact that if the legislature approves this, it goes to a vote. That would be in 2022. Then it would be enacted. You're not going to see this for more than a year. You're looking at almost 2 years from now. So a lot can happen in that interim time period. I'm not sure that will allow the protections that people want, but it is most definitely a move in the right direction. Now, when you combine this with the ballot measure that MOCAN has been putting together and pushing for legalization, we're going to be in a similar situation to 2018 when medical marijuana was legalized. We had competing ballot measures. You know, as long as the cumulative got enough votes, then does that count? I would hope that people would vote for this one as opposed to the one that I saw being pushed by the other organization. So that's what's going on with Representative Shamed Dogan, a Republican, by the way. And I truly hope that you will lobby your state legislator and get support for this and get this pushed through. It has already had 2 reads, and I'm hoping that this will get voted on and approved as soon as possible. So, thank you. Please hit like, subscribe, and I will be talking to you again real soon.